Hey, it's the Ultimate Handyman. So I want to share with you guys a story about a construction fail that I came across. So I was hired to patch the sheetrock around this newly installed electrical panel and texture and paint. Now this panel was installed by a licensed electrician and it was inspected by a city inspector. So first thing I did when I got to the job, I started looking over the patches and you can see that the patches are terrible. There's lots of little broken pieces at the top. The door's open so you can't really see what's on the other side, but there's multiple little patch pieces. And I noticed that it was loose when I was touching the panel. It was moving, which it shouldn't move. So I decided to take off these little sheetrock patches, and I was confronted by this nightmare of a scene. Got a bunch of scrap pieces of wood loose in the wall. This is exactly how it was when I found it. That one screw in the corner that's moving, that is all that was holding the top of the panel. So they just scabbed on a piece of wood on top and then basically screwed through the sheetrock, and that was their way of holding in this panel. It's just absolutely unbelievable. So I'm going to show you my real-time thoughts when I found this. So here you go. So I was hired to patch the sheetrock around this electrical panel, and I started taking these little patch pieces off that were installed terribly. They weren't installed right, they were just loose. And they were attached to this piece of wood that's loose. And then there was a little broken piece here that was holding on this piece of wood that attaches the electrical panel basically to the sheetrock. That's the only thing holding this panel in. And then this piece of wood here is loose. And the only thing holding this top piece of wood in is that sheetrock screw right there. So if I take that screw out, this whole panel is gonna wobble back and forth. This piece is loose, and it's only held in by, I guess, nothing. It's not held in by anything. You just pull it out. And as we go down, they decided to hack out these 2x6s, and it's not connected. And that's not connected. So basically the panel's just sitting in the wall, loosely. Only thing holding it is the conduit. High quality work. There is one screw holding it there, but not up here. He didn't feel like attaching that board to the top. All right, so I just finished framing the electrical panel in, so it's not going to move anymore. This is how it should have been done in the first place. So what I had to do, since this was already installed, I had to notch this 2x6 out to clear this conduit pipe. I just made a huge notch in it because I wasn't sure which way this was going to be shifted in the wall, and I didn't want to have to deal with it hitting. And then after I was done installing this, I added this 2x4 here to tie this piece into the wall and reconnect that. So that's all connected there with 3-inch deckmate screws. Then I installed this upper plate, another 2x6. I had to notch around the conduit here. I ended up tying the conduit together to give me a little bit more space instead of making a bigger notch. This top plate, I wish it would have went all the way over, but there's solid conduit against that other stud. So I wasn't able to tie it in, but it's very strong. It doesn't even move at all. Super sturdy. But once I got this in place, I actually had to pry this out. It was very hard to get this out in the right place. Once I pried it out, these conduit pipes were touching up here, and this piece was sticking out almost to the edge of where the finished sheetrock was supposed to be. So what I did is I tied a hose clamp to the pipe. That's all I had in the truck. And then I drilled a hole through the end of it and put a big deckmate screw and a washer to suck that in back into the wall. And now my sheetrock We'll clear that. And now I can start sheetrocking. That was the original job in the first place, was just to patch the sheetrock. But I wasn't able to because of how poorly it was done. And it's amazing what some people do. I just cannot believe that someone would literally tie an electrical panel in to basically sheetrock, because that's what only thing was holding this in, is some 2x4s screwed into the sheetrock. Unbelievable. So let's compare my patch to the other guy's patch. This is what it's supposed to look like. Nice and clean, everything nice and straight, ready for mudding. And this is what the other guy did. So I just finished texturing the wall. For this job, I had to do some orange peel, and to match orange peel, that's fine. The texture cans work really well to match the texture. I'll show you. There's my texture. It doesn't have paint on it yet. Once I get the paint on it, it'll look just like that texture. That's the existing. So it's come along pretty good after I cleaned up the mess. So here's the wall painted and finished. You cannot even tell where the patch was. It looks amazing. And I want to leave a message to all you contractors and handy people. When you're doing jobs, do the best quality work you can. Have some pride in yourself and do a good job for the customer, because if you don't, they're going to catch you doing this kind of stuff and they're not going to hire you back. And if you work for someone, you're probably going to get fired. So that's my little message to you. So if you like this style of video where I show construction fails, let me know what you think in the comments, and maybe I'll post some more videos like this coming up in the future. Now, if you can do me a huge favor, can you please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on my latest content? And if you want to see more of my videos, you can go check those out right here.